It is the most divisive of controversies around Ayodhya and the Ram Mandir issue, which has been raging for years now without a solution. But could there be an end in sight? Should we be optimistic at all? Well, the Supreme Court today made an observation that has made everyone sit up. It has said that it will step in if the disputing parties were ready to resolve the issue amicably, stressing on an out-of-court settlement. Take a look.
The most divisive dispute raging on for years. A watershed moment in Hindu-Muslim polarization. The Ayodhya Ram Mandir Babri Masjid dispute. After years of being mired in disputes, negotiations and legal cases, the issue is all set for a final mediation by a Supreme Court judge.
In a crucial development today, the Supreme Court suggested that all the parties involved in the Ayodhya land dispute must sit together and try to reach an amicable solution. But what is most important is, will all parties consent? Keeping in mind the huge trust deficit which has always been present between the litigating parties.
Supreme Court, in its observation, made it clear that the issue was a sentimental and religious one, and it should be discussed between the two parties. The court asked Petitioner Subramanian Swamy to consult all parties and inform about the decision on March 31st. Swamy will have to explore all possibilities of negotiation to reach a settlement.
हम समझौता करने के लिए तैयार हैं। मस्जिद बने, मंदिर बने, उसके अलग अलग जगह हैं। एक के प्राणी प्रतिष्ठा के कारण राम जाम पैदा हुए, वही है, उसको बदल नहीं सकते। और मस्जिद तो कहीं भी बना सकते हैं, सड़क में भी नमाज पढ़ते हैं मुसलमान।
उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री जी की अभी तक जो का इतिहास रहा है, उसमें वो क्या लाइन लेते हैं, इस पर निर्भर करेगा, क्योंकि इस मुद्दे को यदि नहीं संभाला गया तो 1992 की परिस्थितियां फिर बनेंगी।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट खुद ये कह रहा है कि बड़ा हिसास मसला है, ये बड़ा इसमें नाजुक मसला है, तो भाई आप जब 3 तलाक का मसला हियर कर रहे हैं तो आप उसी के साथ ये मसले को भी हियर करिए।
In the past, at least 9 attempts have been made to arrive at a negotiated settlement on the Ayodhya issue. All of them have failed to yield any result. And this time, it might turn out futile again, as parties seem to be failing to agree.
हम तो मध्यस्थता के लिए कल ही तैयार हैं। मध्यस्थता तो हम हमेशा चाहते हैं। हमारी सरकार ये चाहती है कि पहले कोई भी डिस्प्यूट जो है, हम तो इसको मध्यस्थता को और भी एनकरेज कर रहे हैं। चाहे लिटिगेशन होने के बाद मीडिएशन हो, मीडिएशन को जो हमारी सरकार जो है हमेशा एनकरेज करती है।
कोर्ट को हमें पहले तो ये बताना है कि प्राइवेट नेगोशिएशन पॉसिबल नहीं है।
मुझे पूरा भरोसा है कि मुस्लिम भाई सामाजिक समरसता में एक उदाहरण पेश करें और करेंगे, क्योंकि कोर्ट ने भी उनसे यही उम्मीद की।
My view, this can be solved by amicable negotiation or through court only. BJP will never let this issue die down.
The issue, if handled properly, could have sealed friendly relations between the two communities, but it instead ended up widening the divide. The latest judicial intervention will hopefully bridge this gap between the two communities. Bureau Report, India Today.
The Supreme Court's remarks today came in response to BJP leader Dr. Subramanian Swamy's plea asking for an early verdict on allowing a Ram Mandir to be built on that disputed structure in Ayodhya. Dr. Subramanian Swamy joins us live. Good evening to you, sir. In what way, Dr. Swamy, is the Supreme Court observation a step closer to a resolution of the issue?
Well, it's closer in the sense that for the first time we have the possibility, I will know for sure only on 31st March, of a Supreme Court judge moderated, negotiated settlement on this issue. So far it has always been bilateral, with politicians perhaps sitting in to moderate, but this would be a Supreme Court approved procedure, and there is a solution, and that solution is something which the Muslim community, in my opinion, also accepts.
Okay.
That they will get a masjid, and that masjid will be across the Saryu River, and the Hindus will get the Ram birth spot, and the Ram Janmabhoomi, there will be a temple. So that is the negotiated settlement I can foresee.
Okay.
Now, what the Supreme Court judge who will moderate it will decide, that's another matter. If the Muslim leaders don't want a settlement with the Hindus, then we are ready to go to court and argue the matter out.
But do you see a meeting ground, Dr. Swamy, between the two sides? And what is that probable common ground as far as you're concerned? Because these are discussions that have been going on for years and years.
There's a meeting ground between the Hindu community and the Muslim community. I'm not talking about the leaders, the lawyers, etc.
Right.
The Muslim community, of which I know very well because I'm family members who are Muslims, they don't want a violence. They want a peaceful settlement.
Right.
They want only this, that those who broke the masjid, the court should, the matter should go in court and come to a logical conclusion.
Yes.
They also want a masjid to be built there in remembrance of the fact that in Ayodhya there was a masjid of this kind. There is no question under Islamic law that the masjid has to be built at a particular spot. Anyone who says that is not a genuine Muslim. A masjid can be built anywhere, and you can read namaz anywhere. It's just a facilitation center for reading namaz. And in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, all these countries, they are regularly demolishing masjids, and nobody complains there. Why do people want to complain here? I don't understand. We have got a possibility of a settlement. You get a masjid across the river, and we get a temple across this side of the river.
You know, Dr. Swamy, you've been given, a difficult job by the Supreme Court, to be completed in 10 days for a dispute that's taken so many years. You've got 10 days. Who all do you plan to speak to, and do you think an agreement is possible or some kind of meeting ground is possible in just 10 days?
No, there is no chance of what has been decided is not so much an agreement, but that I should probe the possibility, and on that day I'll report what I've learned. I've already told them today that the Muslim leaders feel that if they come to a settlement with us, there will be an accusation by the hardliners that they sold out to the Hindus.
Right.
So they want some kind of mediation by the Supreme Court, some involvement of the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court, I will say that if you appoint a judge to mediate, then in my opinion a negotiated settlement is possible, and whatever is decided we will accept.
How do you think, Dr. Swamy, how do you think specifically, because you've gotten into this issue in great detail, how do you think a Supreme Court mediator can resolve the issue which has been, festering for so many years now, sir?
Well, it's very simple. Is there a temple below the masjid? Answer, yes. Who says so? The Archaeological Survey of India. It was conducted by a Hindu called Dr. Bibi Lal and a Muslim called K. Muhammad. Both of them jointly conducted it, gave a report to the Allahabad High Court. Allahabad High Court accepted that. So on that there is no dispute. It has been, Narasimha Rao's government gave an affidavit that if there was a pre-existing temple, we'll hand over the land to the Hindus.
Okay.
Second, the Muslims are by Islamic law prohibited from building a masjid on a disputed land, on a land on the top of some other religious place. Muhammad explicitly himself prohibits that. So the Supreme Court mediator could go into this question and persuade the Muslim community, and I think the Muslim masses want this. They want a peaceful settlement, they want a masjid, both of that which can be accommodated, and we Hindus will get Ram Janmabhoomi.
Well, it's everyone's hope that there is an amicable and peaceful settlement after a decades-long dispute over the Ram Mandir and the Babri Masjid in Ayodhya. Let's hope that there is peace, there is friendship, and there is India as always above all religious preferences. Thank you so much, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, for speaking to us on News at 8 this evening. I want to take our viewers straight across now to our reporters on the ground. Nishant Chaturvedi is our man on the ground in Ayodhya. He's been speaking to the people there, the public, the politicians. We also have our legal correspondent, Anusha Soni, who was in Supreme Court when those observations were being made. Nishant, I want to quickly come to you. What is the sense you're getting? You know, this is an issue you've covered for many years and you're now reporting from Ayodhya, Nishant, where this has been an issue of great bitterness over such a long time. How does it resonate on the ground in Ayodhya, the possibility of a mediated, amicable settlement? Is it even in the realms of possibility?
Now, Shiv, the moment you land in Ayodhya, you start questioning as to what Dr. Subramanian Swamy is talking. Is he confident of winning the case in Supreme Court, or is he confident of dealing with it outside court? Because when it comes to outside court, both the parties have taken a stand which seems will not lead to a result. I have someone with me who's from Nirmohi Akhada. They're the ones who filed the petition.
Yes.
Mahant Ramdas, and I have Mr. Santosh Dubey with me, who's an accused in the Babri Masjid demolition case. I'll take a quick reaction from both of them.
Yes.
मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगा रामदास जी, इस पूरे मामले में क्या आप बातचीत के लिए तैयार हैं? क्या आपको लगता है कि बातचीत हो सकती है? क्या आपको ऐसा लगता है कि अब कोर्ट में जाने का वक्त नहीं है, इसको बिल बैठ के सुलझा लें?
लेकिन बातचीत जो हो वो न्यायिक हो, न्यायिक हो, क्योंकि हम जब बातचीत बहुत दिनों से कर रहे हैं, हमसे अब तक बातचीत नहीं की गई। इसमें राजनीतिक हस्तक्षेप होता है, कभी किसी संत को ले आएंगे, कभी किसी को ले आएंगे और उन लोगों का बयान दे देंगे, जिससे कि कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है।
मतलब आपको ये लगता है कि बातचीत संभव नहीं है इसमें? अच्छा, या संतोष जी, आप तो इस पूरे मामले में एक्यूज हैं। जब वो सब हुआ तब आप वहां पर थे। मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगा, क्या बातचीत की संभावना दिखती है आपको इसमें?
संभावना तो दिखती नहीं है और न कोई अर्थ है। अब सीधे सीधे पार्लियामेंट में इसका कानून बना करके और मंदिर बनाया जाना चाहिए।
It's interesting that I've spoken to so many mahants here, and they said if it cannot be dealt with talks, then it's better to get a law from the parliament. Now that's very interesting. आपने 1885 में पहली बार इस मामले में केस फाइल किया। 1885 से लेकर अभी तक निर्मोही अखाड़ा ने ही केस फाइल किया था। अभी तक कितनी कानूनी अदालतें हो चुकी हैं, कुछ नहीं निकला। आपको लगता है कुछ निष्कर्ष निकलेगा अदालत में जाने से?
नहीं, निकला क्यों नहीं? हाई कोर्ट में निकला है,
लेकिन फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट आ गया।
हाँ, सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसलिए है कि उन्होंने कुछ किया, रोशनी डाला जो 60 साल।
मेरी आज बात हुई थी जो आपकी दूसरी तरफ से, उन्होंने कहा कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी आप ही लोग गए, वो कहाँ गए?
कौन सुप्रीम कोर्ट? कौन नहीं गया? सबसे पहले मुस्लिम गए। हम तो बातचीत भी चालू किए थे कि हमारा बातचीत से हो जाए, लेकिन पहले मुस्लिम गए, फिर हमारी दूसरी पार्टी रामलला विराजमान गई, फिर हम 3 जनवरी 2011 को हम गए।
So Shiv, I think it's pretty clear.
Yes.
What we see here in ground zero and the way they are reacting to it.
Absolutely, Nishant. I think that's a very, very clear sense of, what one section of the stakeholders in this entire dispute actually feel. I want to bring in Anusha also. Anusha, what kind of a time frame are we looking at, before we actually see a Supreme Court justice step in physically to mediate a possible dispute? Because it doesn't look like either side is ready for a friendly chat across the table at this time.
So Shiv, let me bring in two very crucial aspects here. First is the fact that this is a civil suit. In such cases, the court can go ahead, pass a judicial order and ask the parties to sit for the mediation. But this is also a case which involves huge public interest. In such a matter, it would be of grave importance that there is consent from both the sides. Even if there is consent from both the sides, it will be very important that what is the procedure that the court will follow.
Right.
Usually in cases like these, the court will have to frame the questions, the appointment of mediators, the independent observer, and also the fact that the outcome of the mediation, if one of the parties is not satisfied, what is the relief that they can approach, what is it that they can look at. So really here the devil will be in the details. Even if prima facie there is a consent, there will have to be a consensus if at all there is a mediation on the finer details of this entire mediation process.
Absolutely. So there is a little bit of a distance to go before we can see this actually becoming a reality. Nishant, I want to come back to you because we've heard very strong voices speaking from Ayodhya right through the day, the people that you've been speaking to over there as well. But the question that a lot of, common Aam Admis like myself, people from other parts of the country, will be asking today, beyond the politics, beyond the bitterness that this entire dispute has thrown up, is there a sense that the fact that this has taken so long to resolve itself, so long for peace to prevail on this issue, is there is there a little bit of hope or a little bit of yearning for this issue to be settled once and for all, because India has other priorities?
Ironically, Shiv, that's not people here. That's not something what they're thinking right now.
Right.
I've spoken to both the parties. I've spoken to the Mahants who have filed the petition. I've spoken to Haji Mehboob, who's filed the petition. They can sit on it. They can let it be the way it is. But if they want to sit down on the table and they want to talk, then they have their preset conditions, which are pretty strong, which would in any way not lead to any conclusion in the talk. So I think court solution, and when it comes to court, things are definitely going to take time.
Thank you very much, Nishant and Anusha, for getting us those live reports on a crucial issue facing the country today on the Ayodhya dispute, as well as, as the Supreme Court offered mediation. India today travelled to Ayodhya. You saw Nishant there along with the other reporters to get you a glimpse of what the people see and what their demand really is. What is the mood in the land where this dispute has been festering and breeding for years? Take a look at this special ground report filed by Nishant Chaturvedi earlier today.
Ayodhya, the city of about 6,000 temples. Jai Ram, echoing at the Bhajan Sandhya Sthal. The fate of the city and the dispute that plagues it may just come to an end. India Today travelled to capture the mood on the streets of Ayodhya in the wake of the Supreme Court observation of an out-of-court settlement. And in the religious city, both communities welcomed the handshake suggestion with open arms.
प्रदेश में भी सरकार है, अगर ये चाहें तो कानून बना करके समस्या का समाधान कर सकते हैं, और जहां कोर्ट की बात है तो स्पेशल बेंच बना करके और बहस करा करके फैसला करा सकते हैं।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट अपना राम मंदिर के पक्ष में, राम जी के पक्ष में फैसला सुनावे, और या केंद्र सरकार संविधान बना करके राम मंदिर का निर्माण करावे।
देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अगर पहल की है, कहा है कि अगर आपस में बैठ के मसले हल हो जाएं तो सो फार गुड, इससे अच्छी कोई बात नहीं।
Priests of different temples even stated their faith in the Modi government at the center and the Yogi government in the state.
इस समय बहुत बड़े बुद्धियोगी जिनका नाम मोदी जी है, इस समय भारत की गद्दी पर बैठे हैं, और मोदी और योगी सामने बनता है।
On the streets of Ayodhya, the popular sentiment that echoed was one peace shall prosper, a solution must be found.
What is important here is to know and understand as to, are the people of Ayodhya, do they believe that there can be a solution if people sit down and talk? क्या आपको लगता है बैठ के बातचीत इस मसले को सुलझाया जा सकता है?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it is very important for all religions, or either Hindu religion or Muslim religion. It is very important to first of all we should try to satisfy everyone.
अब मुझे एक बात बताइए, क्या आपको लगता नहीं है कि इसके बारे में पहले बैठ के बातचीत करनी चाहिए, समझना चाहिए, rather than कोर्ट में बार-बार जाएं?
नहीं, जस्टिस बसु ने कई बार प्रयास किया इसके लिए और आम सहमत भी बनाने का प्रयास किया, लेकिन उसके बाद भी कोई हल नहीं निकल पाया। इसीलिए कोर्ट में मैटर गया था। कोर्ट में मैटर जाने का मतलब है कि हम लोग आपस में मिलकर जब बात नहीं बैठ पा रही है, कोई समाधान नहीं मिल पा रहा है, इसीलिए कोर्ट में।
The long-standing Ayodhya issue is one of its kind. It has long defined people's fate and has made history for all the wrong reasons. And as people of the city ask for peace, the onus now lies on the acting parties from both communities.
The view is divided, the opinion is mixed. What people want to understand and what people are saying here is that at the end of the day, we have to solve it out. How do you do it? That's a big question, because from both the sides, they've taken a very strong viewpoint. With cameraman Madan, this is Nishant Chaturvedi for India Today from Ayodhya.
And keep watching India Today. We've got a special broadcast out of Ayodhya on India First. That's coming up next. Stay with us.